So let me tell you about Evan. Evan's the CEO of FRSecure and Security Studio. He, and founder, both. Throughout his 25-year career in information security, he has helped hundreds of businesses, small and large. He's advised legal counsel in high-profile breaches, such as Target and Blue Cross Blue Shield, and he even served as an expert witness in federal crime cases. He's literally an expert.
Mike wanted to add, it's not my own legal cases.
Are you going to share?
Not his own court cases.
Well, we're not talking about that. All right, and Michael Kennedy is the founder of Ostra Cybersecurity. Michael is an industry trailblazer with 20 plus years of leadership experience in network, infrastructure, security program management, and M&A integration for Fortune 500 companies and large enterprises. At Ostra, he is dynamic leader, innovator, speaker, and fierce advocate for the protection and privacy of all his clients' data. These guys will be interesting, and who knows what they want to talk about, but I hope you enjoy. Guys, it's all up to you.
All right.
Thank you.
Do you remember the slide deck, Mike?
No, I don't.
Can you guys can all hear me? I speak softly. That's one of my problems. Mike and I think Mike, what are you doing?
I gotta stop touching it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you
Mike,
guys hear me okay? No?
Mike and I are both more comfortable. Is that you?
Yeah, I think so.
The hell?
It doesn't work on my collar. Beard. See? This is why I got to keep my beard. My wife will.
We have
Matt and I were talking earlier about need to shave. Well, you were going to shave too.
I didn't shave.
Yeah.
But now you can't hear me. You hear me?
Yeah. Okay, we can't talk.
Can I have that thing?
Hello? Mine works.
Mine. Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
So thanks for coming to our karaoke show.
What should we sing?
I don't know how to sing. This is Mike. I'm Evan. We're security guys. We've been around for a long time. One of the things about Mike and I is, just to warn you all, ADHD is kind of our thing.
Just a
right?
little bit.
So squirrels. Think squirrels, and that's us. And Renee was right. We've never spent less than 2 hours together. We sit down for coffee and talk about the things that are broken in our industry, talk about a lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight or today.
Yep.
So for us to stick to a half an hour is like a super challenge, but we're going to try to share as much wisdom as we can. I think a lot of the things that we're going to talk about, you'll be able to relate to. Things like imposter syndrome, that's one of the things we've talked a lot about.
And mental health. Yep.
Some of the broken things in our industry that we're trying to fix, some of the marketing, all kinds of cool things. So that's our pictures. I don't look like that anymore, Mike.
No. Your beard's,
No.
Your beard's a little longer.
My beard, yeah, and I've gained a little bit of weight, gotten a little bit older.
Well, I got real fat.
All right. So let's get to who you can trust. It took a long time. FRSecure, we started in 2008. So a little bit of a head start with Mike and what he's building at Ostra. It took a long, long time to build a reputation as somebody that you can trust, right? We have rules at FRSecure. If you've ever known us, one of those rules is if you ever sell a customer something that they don't need, I'll run you over with my truck.
John's truck.
It's now John's truck. But it's like an F-250. I don't see anybody in this room I can't get over with an F-250. Some of you are pretty big, but I can get over them with an F-250.
Yep.
So it took a long time to be that voice in this industry that you can trust. And we expect all of you, people who do business with us, our partners, to hold us accountable to that. Right? If you're told something from somebody at FRSecure and it turns out not to be true, well, that's a big deal for us. It's our number one core value is we tell the truth. And the same thing holds true over at Ostra, which is one of the things that makes Mike and I think, great together. He runs, a shop of integrity, work a lot to build trust.
Yep. Honesty. Yep.
So that's kind of where we came up with the talk, who you can trust. We'll go a little further. This is Mike. Mike, you want to say some things about yourself?
Not really.
But it's on the slide deck.
I know.
Mike.
You guys can read it if you want to. Really, the one thing I guess I'll talk about is why we started Ostra. I had some friends in the small business space that were having ransomware breaches, and the conversations that we were having, they're like, it's what happens. You know, you have to pay, you get insurance for it, and off you go. And at that moment, it was kind of the catalyst to say that, you know, it can be different. There are tools, there are solutions, there are vendors, that can make it so you're not. You shouldn't just accept you're going to have a ransomware and move on. That there's opportunities to fix that stuff. So that was really why we started Ostra, and that core, like you talked about, the honesty, the trust, we have the same thing. You know, how many times I've told people that you shouldn't be a customer of ours. You know, get a solution over here, or try this. Maybe we'll be a fit later on for you. And really, that honest feedback is really important. So.
Yeah, what Mike said.
I'm gonna have to take that away from you.
Yeah, and I'm like Mike. I don't like to talk about myself. I'm not in this game for myself. I'm in this game to serve the industry, to serve you guys, try to figure out solutions to problems that we're trying to solve. But you know, security guy, if you've been in this industry long enough, you've probably done some pretty cool things, and you can always, you know, do that posturing. You know what I'm talking about with security people. If you're in this industry, you like to posture like you're better than me and whatever. None of that stuff. I'm a security guy. I've been around for a long time, done a lot of things. Yeah, that's me. If you want to talk about some of those things, some of the cool stories, there's a lot of those, especially for somebody like me with ADHD. You find yourself in a lot of weird places, doing a lot of weird things. And that's me. I do a lot of that. So what makes the cybersecurity space so overwhelming? You name it. And I think you guys can relate to a lot of this stuff. Balancing the workload.
Yep.
How many hours a week do you work, Mike?
I don't know. Every day, 10, 12 hours a day at least. I mean, yeah.
How do you keep it together?
I don't. Half the time, I'm always on my phone checking stuff. I have a great wife and kids who kind of keep me on track, and then I have some great people at Ostra that push me along. But it's hard. It's hard.
Raise your hand. How many of you work 40 hours a week or less? No, so not many. How about 60 or more? Yeah, all right. Security people, I mean, I think a lot of us are pretty passionate about our job. My wife actually calculated it once for me. I didn't ask her to, but she decided to take it upon herself. She's my admin too. Weird. 108 hours, she said I was working per week, and I didn't even realize I was working that much. So keeping that thing in balance. And people say like that life, whether they play hard, work hard, or the work-life balance kind of thing. It's different for everybody, right? It's really easy to judge other people and say, well, you know, you're working too much. Well, the one way you can always tell, my advice on work-life balance is judge it by the health of your relationships. Yeah. You know, the health of your relationship with your wife, with your friends. Kids. If your relationships are falling apart, you might be working too much.
Yeah, that's like a classic example. When I left and started Ostra, my kids didn't know who I was. You know, I was traveling every week. I was off all over the place and working weekends, all nights, and I found that a 6-year-old really should know who their dad is and have a relationship to make sure that stays healthy. So dialing those things back and plugging in to the kids. So, you know, like the deadlines, conferences, all the stuff.
Yeah, look at all those things we put on, like attending conferences. I was talking to the CISO for the state of New Jersey, a good friend of mine. Next week is the NASCIO conference, the National Association of State CIOs. And I was asking him, hey man, are you going to be there, right? It's their annual conference. So like they're all there. And he's like, no, I can't. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month. He's got to prepare for that new CISA grant that they're working on. And just, he's got like 5 things. He goes, I can never go to conferences anymore, which kind of sucks because something else suffers for that, right? You go to conferences,
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the conferences aren't meant to sell you stuff. They're meant for us to socialize, for us to spend time together, for us to see each other, for us to, I can't even tell you how many hugs I've given here, which makes it all worth it.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And bacon.
And bacon.
Did you guys get bacon? Yeah, I would work for bacon. My wife not so much. She likes to buy things, but bacon's cool with me. Keeping up with the latest info, that's another thing, right? Threat feeds. I mean, everything's changing all the time. And I think that leads, we can use that in a couple of different ways, right? You can tell me about something that I don't know, because I don't know everything, right? For me to keep up with all the latest and greatest attack vectors and TTPs and IOCs, forget about it. Not just because it's not my role anymore, right? I do a lot of other things, but you can't keep up with it.
There's so much noise out there. I mean,
But have you ever had a time when like somebody comes up to you and go, hey, did you hear about the new whatever? And then you feel intimidated because you never heard about it.
Yeah, because and then I'm not smart enough. I'm in the wrong industry because I don't know the right thing.
Which then leads to imposter syndrome, right?
The imposter syndrome. The ego kicks in that makes it think that I need to know everything that's going on. And like I got a text from Oscar about the exchange vulnerability. And I'm like, oh shit, why didn't I know about this? Well,
It's Oscar.
Yeah, it's true. It's Oscar. But that is a constant because there's so much noise and so many articles and somebody's coming out with something else now. And then I know it's later we talk about it, but I start to stress out that how am I staying ahead? How am I making sure that our clients are protected, or that we know what's going on? I mean, if you want to, we could talk about welding for a while, and get Ryan up here, and we could talk about cars, or we could talk about building stuff,
scuba diving.
But and I was thinking about that. It's okay. I found that it's okay if I have to ask somebody for electrical work, but it's not okay if I have to find out what the latest breach trend is to ask somebody.
Am I allowed to swear?
Just ignore it.
Because I felt a swear word.
Fuck shit, asshole. How about? No, you're good.
But that's the thing. That's the bullshit, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to not know everything. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you less of a professional. It doesn't make you any less awesome, right? I mean, there's a ton of things I don't know. I focus on, for me, nowadays, I pick a problem, right? In case you didn't know, there's lots of problems in our industry, right? Pick one and work on it, solve it, focus on it, obsess about it. That's what I do. So there's lots of things, which is nice because now when people come to me and talk to me about the latest, threat, I don't know that because I'm not working on that. I'm working on something else right now. So I think a lot of times it's, just kind of getting used to that stuff. It's hard though.
Yeah. But what we can change is honesty and transparency.
Justifying budgets.
Justify projects?
Sorry, I just interrupted you. Justifying budgets is on here.
Yeah.
I was going to tangent.
Oh, that's fine.
No?
No, I forgot what I was talking about.
She's looking at me.
Oh, we still have time? We have 20 minutes or so. And she knows. We had a talk last night.
Justifying budgets. So
Oscar and I agreed that he can cut his off to about 15 minutes.
Where's Oscar?
I don't know.
Oh, he's way back there. Hey, Oscar.
I lied about that, by the way, but that's anyway.
There's certain questions I love asking other security people, especially information security leadership. Mm-hmm. One of the questions I love to ask them is, tell me your definition of information security. Right? And it's crazy how many people don't have a good definition of information security. Just on the way in, I was reading a threat LinkedIn feed. Eric Cole. Anybody ever heard of Eric Cole? Eric Cole's been around for like ever, right? He used to be a SANS instructor. He actually went, one of the only, I think, information security classes I actually ever went to. Dr. Eric Cole. But he posted something on LinkedIn today about, is cybersecurity a subset of information security? And I thought to myself, really? We're still having this discussion? Yes, it is a subset of information security. Right? Information security, in case you don't know, and it's okay if you don't know too, right? Another thing we do in our industry is we make people feel intimidated if you don't know what I know. Like, what are you, stupid? You don't know what information security is? but then we complain that you won't listen to us. You see the what? It's kind of doesn't make any sense. Well, information security is risk management, right? Risk management, not risk elimination. Risk management of unauthorized data disclosure, alteration, or modification and destruction using administrative, physical, and technical controls. That's the definition. When you look at cybersecurity is the same thing, but just technical. So yeah, of course it's a subset of the other. But it's funny how us in our industry, I've been in this industry for 30 years, you've got a bunch.
20-something.
We're still debating this, right? Or I ask you, who's ultimately responsible for information security in your organization? And you get these looks like, I don't know. Did you see that poll? I've ripped on that one a lot. There was a poll where the Cybersecurity Hub on LinkedIn, do you guys follow that? So Cybersecurity Hub had asked, who's ultimately responsible for information security? And mostly these are security people answering it, I assume. Yep. And there were 4 options. One was the CISO, the other was the CEO, the other was the board of directors, and the other one was the IT director. 23% actually got that answer right. If you don't know, the answer is the board of directors, right? Assuming there is one. But it's funny, we're still talking about it.
I know.
Did I tangent? You said I could.
Yeah. I was going to ask, how
Are you okay with that?
does this relate to estimating budgets?
Oh, budget.
Justifying budget.
Thank you. That's the other question. How do you justify your budget? Yeah. Where do you spend your next information security dollar? That should be a good question, right? I should have an answer for that. My answer may not be the same as yours, but my answer is the most significant unacceptable risk.
Yeah.
If information security is risk management, that's where I should focus my time, right? Risk decision making, all that stuff. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah. We got there.
I'm with you, brother. Come on.
I wanted to go off on
you
the
want to go
Uber
back?
CISO. No.
Did I go forward?
No, let's go forward. I don't want
All right, let's talk about stuff. We're only now talking about discussion topics.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's go for it. Mental health realities.
Information we consume. Oh, we kind of talked about this a little bit. Imposter syndrome, egos, information we consume, all these different feeds that constantly come at us. You know, I have apps that I use on my phone that I'm flipping through and looking for just different information. But then what we talked about, that where I struggle is that ego, you know, the imposter syndrome. I show up, are we doing the right thing? You know, are our clients going to be protected? I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were talking about their smart device at the home. And the first thing I thought in my mind was, did you scan it for Log4j? Why can't I just enjoy the conversation about a smart thermostat and how it hooked up to some stuff versus the negativity around, you know, but there's a vulnerability there, man.
I just upgraded the phone on the way here.
Oh, yeah.
Note to self, don't upgrade the phone on the way here when you don't have where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, there's some bugs in there,
Because the phone was in the middle of transferring, and I was like, oh, crap. Where do I go? I can't call anybody either. So,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
squirrel guy, that's what happens. But it's funny, that reminds me of another conversation at FBI conference. You were there. The FBI, I was talking about asset management, right? And the importance of that in information security. Because the truth of the matter is, this is simple logic. It's not security stuff, but I can't protect the things I don't know I have, right? That makes sense, probably. What I usually get when I give that talk was a whole bunch of head nodding. Everybody agreed. So then I picked on somebody. I'm not going to pick on anybody. So I picked on somebody. Like, assets are hardware, software, and data. And they are, yeah, absolutely. How many apps do you have on your phone right now? And he didn't have an answer. Well, you can't protect yourself. Why would I ask you to protect my organization? Right? Every application that's on your phone is talking to something else, right? It has vulnerabilities, needs to be configured, needs to be updated.
Recording us right now.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, see,
Siri.
I saw that, and I was like, shit, where do I go look to see how many apps I have on my phone? Hi, Siri.
Siri's listening.
Call wife.
Shit. No.
Oh, damn it.
She doesn't know you. All right, so mental health realities, information we consume, recommendation type. Imposter syndrome, we talked about that. How do you deal with imposter syndrome? You're still here.
Oh, how
so
I
you
do
did
it?
deal with it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling somebody last night about this, about just the mental anguish of, you know, it was a sunny, beautiful day. I'd just come back from a fishing trip with some great people. We were doing some great stuff. And I'm driving along, you know, shit, everything sucks. It's just like, but why is that story going on in my head? Why am I having this internal like conversation and trying to take a step back? Because, you know, so I kind of demanded that we put ego up here because I feel like, are we doing okay? Yeah, we're okay. Is that what we end up with?
We still got an hour and a half.
Huh?
We still got an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome.
We'll just block her out. So,
talk like you're talking to me.
So no, I can't talk now.
Come on.
I'm getting yelled at.
Don't worry about those people. It's me and you, man.
So that imposter syndrome of just being able to process through, like we talked, it's okay. You know, it's okay to feel this way, but it's also really important. What I found in my life, it's also really important not to just keep it inside between my ears. You know, our secrets will kill us. And if I continue to let that noise fester and kind of go and have this ego that I'm special, or you know nobody understands because I'm unique, and you know, and then come and sit down and you and I talk, or sit down with anybody and have more of that open conversation. And it's really like, it takes that away. It takes that power away. And then I start to realize, and we were talking the other day about something, and you told me about some new, what was that? Some Apple thing. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
And I had to Google it. And then I'm like, hey, have you seen the new CarPlay?
Augmented reality stuff. Yeah.
Augmented reality. And I'm like, have you seen the new CarPlay 2 stuff? And you're like, shit, I haven't seen it yet. And how is, you know, that's where I was going back to my conversation before about, you know, it's okay to ask somebody like, how do I run electrical or build an outlet or do something? But if I'm not, you know, in the industry with all these other people, it's like, you're going to find me out. You know, you're going to find out that I really don't know anything. I don't know what EDR stands for. But it's because it changes every day. But, you know, that's one thing.
Well, and I always think that imposter syndrome is bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you are who you are, right? I think when you try to be somebody that you're not, I think it leaves yourself open more to imposter syndrome. And sadly, a lot of us work in places or go to conferences where you kind of have to act like somebody you're not, right? You act like you can hack things or you can do things because it makes you cool in our tribe, but it's bullshit, right? Well, that's going to exacerbate certainly the imposter syndrome. So I think, and being able to recognize the early signs of imposter syndrome and being able to tell yourself, right? If you're your own biggest critic, be able to tell yourself, that's bullshit. What I'm telling myself right now is bullshit. And if that still doesn't work, then having a support structure, having people around you that genuinely care about you, that will lift you up, not tear you down.
Yes.
That's one of the big reasons why I love hanging out with Mike, is because he's genuine. He will build me up. You know, Ryan builds me up. This guy over here, the big guy, John Harmon, builds me up. All you guys build me up. I mean, you guys give me hugs and stuff. It's like, it just reinforces that, you know, maybe I'm not, you know, a dickhead.
No, you're not a dickhead.
Yeah, so that's
I like
cool.
you.
So ego's another thing we fight all the time.
Yep. Everybody's
got an ego. It's whether or not your ego is in check, right? To walk around like your shit doesn't stink.
Your shit stinks.
It does. Everybody. Yeah. I haven't smelled all of your shits before, but I'm guessing they stink.
Yep.
Should we test that?
We could.
That'd be
No,
weird.
I don't think so. It's not the right audience for that.
Okay, next time. Letting go. Letting go, was that one that you added there?
Yeah, letting go. Just kind of, it really just not letting it consume you, kind of letting it out, letting it go, you know, moving on. You know, something happened, okay, well, let's, you know, how do we fix it? How do we move on? Not getting stuck in the cycle. You know, there's that old saying my mom or dad used to tell me is like, you got 1 foot in tomorrow, you got 1 foot in yesterday, you're pissing all over today. And so, you know, you got to be in this moment today and just deal with what's in front of you. So
I can visualize that.
yeah, I tried going out on the, I asked if I could go pee on the field, and they wouldn't.
Well, and we've learned so much. I mean, you learn wisdom, right? The longer you're in this industry, you learn things.
Yep.
One of the things that, I think I posted it yesterday on Twitter, was information security isn't life.
No.
It's just integrated with every part of your life, right? So being able to put things into perspective, right? We do that a lot as CISOs. We get so passionate about our job. We see the risks all the time, the vulnerabilities, the threats, and we're like, oh my God, this is so bad. We got to do something, Yeah. And so to us, these risks are the risks. It's the life. But take it in the perspective of like a CEO. That's the one who's supposed to be helping you make these risk decisions. It's just another risk, right? So being able to kind of put those things into perspective, I think, helps me a lot too in letting go, right? I don't make the risk decisions. Well, for me, I do, sort of. Other people do that for me too, but in business, right?
Yeah.
The business is supposed to make the risk decisions, not me. As a CISO, I have two jobs. One, consult the business to make those good risk decisions. Two, implement those risk decisions to the best of my ability. If the business chooses or makes shitty risk decisions, that's on them. And being bold enough, I think, to do that. But that also helps me let go.
Yeah.
I can't own all of this,
No, you
right?
can't.
It'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, marketing fodder, predatory, hunting.
Ooh.
Predatory marketing. Do you guys ever seen spam before? There's those emails that you didn't ask for?
I won an award this morning.
You got what?
I won an award this morning.
What did you win?
I can't remember what exact. I think it was like a Minnetonka award. We won an award for.
Do you want me to log into your email and tell you?
Yeah. Minnetonka Business of the Year or something like that. So we won an award this morning, and then it's a really cool award. And then in fine print, you need to pay us X thousands of dollars for this award. So I thought that was kind of cool.
I always thought, in the Can Spam Act, were you guys around when the Can Spam Act was?
Yep.
I was like, oh, finally, we're going to take this stuff seriously. Finally, I have some recourse for all this crap I keep getting in my mailbox. What a failure that was.
Right.
Because I get spam a lot, and I once in a while, depending on my mood, again, being a squirrel, I'll decide to opt out. Like, I'll just play this game for a little bit. Useless.
Yeah.
But it's that, and the other marketing things, and we've talked about this a lot when we were doing the shit show, just the false promises, the selling people things that they don't need, that don't work,
Blinky
that
lights.
you couldn't use even if it did work, right? Every single thing you add into your environment adds more complexity. And complexity is the worst enemy of security. So if you already don't know what it is you're trying to protect, why the hell would you add more to it? It's logic.
I'm really trying to bite my tongue right now. Okay, I won't.
No, go for it. You encouraged me. I'm going to encourage you.
There's this saying that we've heard at a few conferences lately this year that our team has been to, that's where there's mystery, there's margin. And really teaching partners or solution providers how to create mystery in their service catalogs so they can create greater margin when they sell services to clients. And that's something that really fucking pisses me off. And you talk about it.
Yeah,
sorry.
You took that to another level.
I mean, it really irritates me because, we've talked to potential customers, client, whatever. We're talking to people and they don't understand their services that they're buying. And they can't see where they're in the service catalog, how they're paying for SOC or how they're paying for EDR. And they're expecting we get annual security assessments. Well, send me the last one you got. Well, we've never gotten one. Okay, well, you're paying for it. Anyway, I'm trying to stop.
Just do zero trust.
Yeah, it goes by who can you trust? I mean, how?
No, zero trust.
Zero trust. Yeah.
Do zero trust.
Yeah, we should all implement zero trust today. We could have it all done by the end of the afternoon. Implement it.
Forrester invented that.
Yeah.
Forrester invented zero trust. It never existed before then.
It still doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But that predatory stuff, I mean, you talk about it, we all talk, I mean, it's just the constant, and the constant return. Hey, you haven't even responded to me. The stuff that Danny's doing, and, Danny Wolf really trying to, create this different way that marketing can communicate out to people. That's the stuff that needs to change. We need to delete those messages, unsubscribe from those. I had a guy reach out to me on LinkedIn and trying to sell me a product. I'm like, if you would have paid attention to my LinkedIn or anything we do, that I think that product sucks.
Sorry about that.
I know. Anyway, sorry.
You didn't buy though.
Right? Nope. I don't buy it.
Well, and you observe a lot of this stuff. So we've always been product agnostic at FRSecure, which is great because you can kind of see the game that's being played out in front of you. And it's really easy to be product agnostic. You find a problem and you solve it. It might take a product to do that, but you won't buy the product from me. We'll spec out the product, find the right product for you, and it'll work. But I was in a big, one of the states, a blue ribbon commission, which makes recommendations to the state's governor. And they asked me to present here. And there were three of us, 2 vendors first, and I'm not going to mention names, but Dell and Accenture, and then, Dell, Accenture, and then me. And they were giving their presentations. Both of those were pitching zero trust, hard. Zero trust, zero trust, zero trust. And the state CISO asked a really good question of the second vendor who was pitching zero trust, where do I get started with zero trust? I thought, great question. They didn't answer it. But being that I was giving the last presentation, I hurried up and added a slide to my deck. This is where you get started with zero trust. But it was just a really interesting discussion. And in case you don't know, I'll make it get to know yourself really, really intimately. Your environment really, really intimately. How are you going to know what's going to trust what or who's supposed to trust what unless you understand your environment intimately? You could go with the NIST guidance, which would mean add more complexity to your environment and still not understand what you're trying to protect before you might understand what you're trying to protect.
Right. How can you implement zero trust without asset inventory?
I don't trust you. Yeah. Wait, I do trust.
Oh, yeah.
I've opened...
we opened the walls.
Yeah, there's a thing
we have
here.
zero trust between us.
But anyway, okay, vendor noise. I think that we're all professionals. Most of you are professionals. I assume you get paid to do security stuff. So just do it well. Try to ignore the noise. Focus on what you're responsible for. If this is my environment and I'm responsible for securing this environment, I should know as much as I can every single thing that happens on this environment. Now, it's probably gotten too complex for you to do that now because you've added too many applications, too many servers, too many God knows what. And in some cases, I've actually made the recommendation it's probably more cost effective for you just to start over. Now, that's not a pill anybody really wants to swallow, but we've done, incident responses before. I don't do those anymore, but Oscar and his team, and they do incident responses, and that was the recommendation on, a ransomware attack. Rebuild this environment, start over and do it right this time. Yeah. That's what you kind of need to do. Focus on yourself. All right, listen to what they're saying, trust, but verify yourself. I put the second bullet point. That one was mine.
Trust but verify.
You want to listen to what they're saying? Do you listen to what they're saying?
I'm sorry, what?
What?
A lot.
I have no idea. Who are you?
I don't know. I'm Michael.
You look like a better looking me almost.
No, I like your scraggle.
Is it because I'm tan?
Yeah.
I live in Mexico.
So. Yeah. Short hair.
What? Oh.
20 minutes, I thought you said.
That's just peace. Or is that victory? Victory.
Just trust yourself.
I was going to touch your fingers. That would have been awkward. Should we hold hands? I don't know. It's 2022. Anything goes, man.
I'm comfortable.
There was a girl in Australia who wanted to identifies as a cat. Did you see that? You didn't? Imposter syndrome?
No, I was nodding my head. I was thinking about my son when it was at a camp this summer and somebody identified it as a dog at the camp. So it happens.
Cool. I'm not going to judge.
Nope.
All right, so listen to what they're saying. Well, so you can either not listen to what they're saying.
Listen to the in between the noise of what they're saying.
Right, because like I said, for me, what really helps is focus on the problem. If I have a problem I want to solve, I focus on that problem. If other people are saying things, I usually don't have time to be distracted by what they're saying anyway.
Correct. Yep. Shh. Focus.
Did she leave?
Yep. We're good.
Hell yeah.
Our mics are going to get shut off in 2 seconds.
Is she getting more mic? We can yell.
That's true. I can talk loud. I don't need it.
This thing? All right, anyway. Trust but verify yourself. Okay, so
Trust.
listening and not listening, right? Listening to what they're saying. Well, so
Right.
let's say something is intriguing, like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Right.
AI, blockchain, whatever the hell you're talking about. I want to investigate, listen to the details, listen to what they're saying. We do this all the time.
Right.
Challenge them. I actually had one vendor, believe it or not, who told me, because what he was saying didn't make any sense. And I was like,
You should ask
so
people.
tell me how that works.
You should
And
ask
he goes,
people, raise their hand if they've ever had a vendor confuse you.
oh God. Well, but that's it. Don't buy anything that you don't understand.
Right.
Ever. It's their job to explain it to you in a language that you understand because it's going into your environment. You're the one that has to manage it. You're the one that's responsible for it. Right? So maybe it's a great education opportunity, or maybe it's something you don't actually need. But this one vendor, I could not get my head around, how the hell does this thing work? And he goes, well, it's invisible processes. I was like,
Magic processes.
invisible process. What the hell is that? Well, and there's some people that were on that call with me that, yeah. Anyway, there's no such thing as invisible processes.
No.
And one of those things about who you can trust, right? Getting that circle. I love people a lot. I don't like people a lot. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm an introvert, so I like, but I do have a circle of people that I can always go to and bounce things off of, right? A lot of times they'll save me from myself. Like, I really want to do this. They weren't there for me when I bought my welder. They weren't there for me when I bought my last drone. They weren't there, where are these people? But they are there for me when I buy more marketing stuff.
I bought it, anyway.
Yeah. So who you can trust but verify yourself. We had a great
Yep.
conversation about this too.
Yeah.
You have that inside voice, right? That like, man, this seems like a little bit too good to be true.
Yeah. Trust it.
Trust it. Trust your instincts, right? If you know your environment, or you should know your environment better than anybody else knows your environment.
Yep.
Other than the attacker that's been dwelling there for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows your environment, or she knows your environment better than you do.
Yep. Trust your gut.
But see if you can find out who they are and maybe give them a call and see if they can show
Maybe
you
they need
some
a
things.
job.
So, but trust and verify yourself. If it's too good, don't reinvent wisdom. We see this a lot too. Reinventing wisdom.
Yeah. Steal from everybody.
Wisdom never changes.
No. It's the
That's
same.
the thing about wisdom. Like the same things you learned from your grandmother, grandfather, they still apply today.
Yeah.
But yet we think like, nah, can't be true.
No.
Oh, it is. And it hurts. Yeah.
I don't know why.
I'm not going to talk about those stories.
No. No.
But the statute of limitations has worn off on most of those things.
7
You have to
years.
figure out, is it 7?
Yeah.
All right, shit. We got a couple more years for that. All right, so who you can trust. Questions? Do you have any questions real quick? We got like a minute. Minute, 30
minutes.
seconds. One question. The best question gets, give him something.
One question. And by the way, I got this, so don't
200
worry about
pesos.
going light.
200 pesos.
All right, one question? Anybody? You got to raise your hand, and I'll come to you.
No questions. Oh,
Okay, we got one.
I don't think they're ever going to invite us back
No.
again.
Is he planted? Is this a planted question?
This is Nathaniel.
Hey, Nathaniel.
So on your last point, don't reinvent wisdom. I thought about my wife's grandma, who was like a member of the KKK, whose version of wisdom maybe is different than mine. So how do you know it when you see it?
Well, I think wisdom always proves itself to be true, right? So if your grandmother's wisdom, who is in the KKK, I think you can probably use some discernment, figure out. My father always used to, speaking of wisdom, my father would always tell me, consider the source. That was one of the pieces of wisdom he would always give me. It's not reliant upon race, anything else. It's consider the source. And so if your grandmother was giving me wisdom, I would consider the source. Being from the KKK, it's not completely invalid what you're saying. There might still be wisdom there, but it's probably bullshit. Honestly.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
History,
Can we
guys,
come
let's
back
hear
again
it for
next year?
these guys. They did it.